Jet Reno likes her Vesper Martini ice cold. Lieutenant Commander Arium learns of her fate. And Lieutenant Gen Reese loves curves of the 23rd century Constitution class. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Maybe I should have said loves the curves of the Constitution class. Either way. Today we're doing a review of Star Trek Discovery, Season 5, Episode 4, entitled Face the Strange, written by Sean Cochran, directed by Lee Rose. How you doing today, Cirroc?
Doing good. Doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Lee Rose. All right.
So this was an interesting episode. There was a lot of scuttlebutt, as the French say. It's a very French word. That today was going to be a zany kind of episode, and it's called Face the Strange. So a lot of us were guessing that maybe it was going to be like a psychedelic episode or something where, crazy things are happening, mind bending and mind altering, but it wasn't that. It was it was kind of that, but it was another time travel episode, another kind of time loop episode, which to me,
Yeah.
and we'll definitely talk about it, which to me felt very Star Trek. It's a different spin on a Star Trek kind of episode. But Cirroc, what did you think of it? Was it interesting? Was it confusing? Was it recognizable?
Okay. Well, I have a love-hate relationship with time travel episodes. So it either
Like in The
falls in one of
Visitor?
two categories. Yeah, it literally falls in one of two categories. And I think it's just the way they apply time travel to the story. Um, for example, The Visitor, I really love that time travel episode. It doesn't feel so much like it's a time travel episode, even though it is, but it doesn't feel like that's the point of the story. It enhances the storyline. Um, and in this particular episode, I guess it does enhance the storyline to have Burnham have this kind of what was that Christmas special where the ghost of Christmas past uh the takes what's I think is Scrooge or somebody through
Yeah.
his life.
Yeah. Why can't I remember what it's called? A Christmas Story? I don't know.
I think
We're the
that's what it
worst
was.
at this.
We're the worst with it,
But I know
but
it's got the
you're
ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas like Jelly Bellies.
yeah,
There's all these, and they visit some
yeah,
Scrooge McDuck and stuff, right? Yeah.
it's something like that. But basically, it's like it's going through and showing like this is the outcome of the future or what could have happened if different things had have occurred, and so that's what this episode was. That was you know the catalyst for having these really cool discussions between characters like Arian, like Burnham on Burnham. And so those kinds of moments were delivered using time travel as the catalyst. Now, how it was used wasn't my necessarily cup of tea because of the execution of the time travel device, the spider, and all of that stuff. I didn't necessarily like that as the methodology.
That's a couple of very interesting points. I did not make the connection between the Ghost of Christmas Past and all that, but you're right. It was Ghost of Christmas Past, Ghost of Christmas Future, Ghost of Christmas Present. And we got to see kind of all of it there. That's a very interesting point. I was a little confused by the spider too. I didn't really get it. I remember thinking, you know what? It's okay. Cirroc will get it. I'll just focus on, because I thought some of the dialogue was great. I thought some of the moments were great, but the technology was a little confusing to me. But I was like, that's okay. My brain's not good with it. It's fine. But the spider, yeah, I was a little confused by it, but I recognize this as a very Star Trek kind of trope, right? Like Discovery did an episode, I think season 1, episode 7, I think, Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad, with Rainn Wilson playing Harry Mudd, which did a kind of a time loop episode, and it was an interesting twist. Now, these are way more complicated than our old school Star Trek time travel things, but they kind of have to be. Otherwise, they're just repeating what we've seen before. Then we're in the time loop, not the TV show. And so I think that's why they have to come up with a different spin on it.
They always come with a different spin. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is, I'm like, I'm really have like this kind of bug phobia, right? I'm not the biggest on bugs. So I remember growing up and seeing movies like Arachnophobia,
Uh-huh.
or even
Spider-Man.
Indiana Jones movies where he would have to go through bugs at some point or time.
Mhm.
All of that stuff is in my psyche. So I have this allergy to bugs when it comes to just seeing them on screen. So my first thought when I saw that was, wait a minute, the computer doesn't have a program that senses life forms like that, and there's no bug zapper 1,000 years from now, like that would keep the conditions of this spaceship. Are there
Yeah.
space bugs?
And that's some amazing technology to where if these two guys have that, they should be using that on everybody all the time. They should just unleash a fleet of those bugs so that they can just so the crew of the Discovery can just never get out of it. They're everywhere. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
Uh, so
And anywhere could use that, because even Rayner's talking about, yeah, he knows about where to get him and he's dealt with them before. So I mean, the Federation would have that as their backup weapons and stuff. I mean,
right,
everybody could use it as a weapon essentially,
because that's
especially that
pretty
it's so
powerful.
small and undetectable once it's present inside of your. I thought there were environmental controls that would sense some kind of bug, life form.
Yeah,
You
to
know,
something that's that readily available. Uh, and that powerful. So this reminded me of one of my all-time favorite episodes called Cause and Effect. It is a seventh season Next Generation episode. Um, and it's just for me, it is the episode that I use to introduce any first-time Star Trek viewer. If somebody's never seen Star Trek and they're like, "Oh, I'll give it a try," I go, "I'm going to play Cause and Effect for you." And everybody at home in the comments below, let us know what is your first-time Star Trek viewer go-to episode, the one where you're like, "I'll get them hooked." No doubt, I'll get them hooked. And if Frasier doesn't do it, Frasier's in that episode, then nobody will. But there were a lot of people that, like I love that they featured Arium. I love that they featured Bryce again. If you'll notice, Bryce was gone for the end of the fourth season, and so far in the fifth season, the guy back left in the bridge, and he was replaced with Lieutenant Christopher, but he was back for this thing, and Arium was back for this thing, and Lorca was theoretically back, although they didn't. they just mentioned him. Um, Personally, I actually thought that a lot of the writing and a lot of the dialogue was very good, and it felt more Star Trek than most Discovery episodes. Like I could almost replace it with, instead of Burnham and Rayner and Stamets, instead it's Geordi and Lieutenant Rowe and Picard or something like that. It was fun.
yeah, there were moments that I liked about this episode. Um, I thought there were moments that I liked. I mean, that I was
The sweaty
confused
kiss, the sweaty
once I
kiss.
got past the confusion. Like, because as soon as she said that's the Red Angel, I was like, oh my god, I got to go back to the Red Angel
I
episodes.
know. Where are my notes on the Reddit?
Yeah,
I didn't know there was gonna be a pop
yeah,
quiz here.
yeah. I was like, I forgot. I got to know, where did we leave off on that issue. So as soon as I got my brain to let go of trying to do the math on that, and I just started to listen to the dialogue like you're talking about. There were moments in the dialogue I thought were hilarious. I thought Stamets was great in this episode. There was when he says, "All right, I'm very grumpy. Just he says, I'm very grumpy, just absolutely irate, and I need to be left alone." That was one of the best That's a hip hop quotable. That's what they used to say. That's a hip hop quotable.
He's dropping bars in engineering right
Yeah,
now.
that's bars right there. You can clip that and go ahead and meme that.
Yeah.
Um, I think
Well,
that was a great delivery and well written.
there was another line that I really loved. Probably my favorite was Jet Reno. She knocks out one of the baddies and says, "Get a better helmet." Like
Yeah,
she has these little
yeah,
5 sentence one line or 5 word one liners that are so good. And it's unbelievable that she is such a novice actor, right? She's really, she's a comedian, but she's so natural. Like she is,
yeah.
I'm sure directors are like, just like that. Just do what you do. It works. Don't overthink it. Just be yourself because she delivers every line so perfectly. It's unbelievable.
And ultimately, the expression that she constantly wears on her face
Mm-hmm.
is this attitude of like, like, who are you? Why am I wasting my time talking to you again?
Mm-hmm.
She has this demeanor about her where it's an attitude,
Yeah.
and she gives it to everybody. Nobody's outside of the attitude. She doesn't soften up for somebody. And there's moments when she'll soften it for little cues, but you get attitude when you get her right off top. Linus in the elevator with Burnham when he says "Red is your color." I love that
Yeah.
little moment. It was a small moment, but I thought it was great. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Somebody tweeted out that Linus has their favorite line of the episode, and it must have been that one. That was a great one.
yeah, because she does look great in red, and I thought that was great. There were moments that I liked. I liked Burnham fighting Burnham in the turbo, and I mean outside the turbo lift in the corridor. I thought that was kind of well choreographed. You're always looking to see if you can find the cuts and the stunt double and whoever that plays opposite. But I think they cut it together well, and it was choreographed well. It was
Yeah.
believable for me
It was unnoticeable. I never thought for a second, oh, that's obviously the stunt double, or that's the
yeah,
this or that. Like it was cut beautifully,
it was
flowed
seamless.
well.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought
So
so
it was
too.
good fight choreography. Method, shout out to their stunt coordinator who put that together for them. I thought that was well done.
Hmm. The Breen were
Um,
mentioned again too.
yep,
Man,
yep.
we are
I
gonna
said F
see
the
the Breen.
Breen. That's
We
in
are
my notes.
going to
I was like, F
see.
the Breen,
No, I
man. These
want to
fucking guys
see
are
them.
always brought up.
I want to see them so bad. We are going to see the Breen this episode, come hell or high water, and we're going to see them without their helmets
we
at some
only
point.
got 6 episodes to go, so I mean, it's like you gotta
I'm,
hurry up.
there's no way we're not going to see the Breen. I'm so excited for it. Uh,
uh,
what was it? I was going to.
yeah, I thought that Tilly was great too. That little exchange between Burnham and Tilly. I, I just love her performances. She's just like amazing. Uh, Mary Weissman, she just really hits the notes. And for example, when Burnham says, I know you have dreams that I'm going to stab you in the middle of the night, and she's like, but I won't stab you. Trust me, don't worry. And she's like, oh, thank you. The thank you, the way she delivered it, like,
I agree. I put that in my notes too. I was like, what a perfect delivery of just the only other person that I think can deliver 1 or 2 lines that well is Alexander Siddig. He and also possibly LeVar Burton. Those two, they get because they have a lot of yes sirs. They have a no sirs. They have right away. They have a lot of those things, and they have to make it interesting. And they do. She did as well. Mary Wiseman just made a thank you, be like, "Ooh, that's notes worthy." I'm typing that down, right?
yeah, I had to
That's
write
what
it
I
down.
did.
I was like, that's A plus. Like, she just said thank you for not knifing me in my sleep, but the way she said it was like that's very nice of you, that you
Very
won't kill
nice.
me. Very nice of
So
you.
the Krenim also, we got to mention the Krenim. They mentioned that the time bug was from the Krenim chronophage. Uh,
Yeah, that
and
sounds
so
like a bad. Is there cream for that? Some kind of ointment
an
you got to put on that.
analgesic cream. So the Krenim are a Voyager alien. I believe they were featured in like one episode, maybe
Oh,
mentioned in one or two others, but they were pretty cool. They were a pretty legit Voyager
okay.
alien, the Krenim. So that's an
See, that went
interesting.
right. That all that stuff went all. It was like this.
Yeah, well, yeah. But as soon as they said Krenim, I remember Janeway saying, the Krenim, So I'm like, wait a minute, I know that alien. I remember that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and then when they started talking warp bubbles and all that stuff, again, I had to check my brain out. The inertia dampeners in the warp bubble, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna just not try to put my brain around the physics of this,
Hmm.
and you guys just do whatever you have to do as far as warp is concerned. But yeah, I mean, there's moments that I like in this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
let
yeah,
me ask you
go
this,
ahead.
Cirroc, because I wonder
Yeah,
if, and I think the answer is no, but I wonder if the writers at the very top, the producers, had a feeling that season five might be the last season, because this episode felt like a series retrospective. It wasn't just a time loop episode. It wasn't just a share your
yeah.
feelings with certain characters episode. It felt like an entire series in retrospective. They talked about the burn, they talked about the Red Angel, they went back to Arium, they talked
Hmm.
about Michael Burnham's full character arc. Like right now, you're a mutineer and you will end up being a captain, as if the completed character arc was talking to the beginning character arc. And there were a lot of moments like that where, again, I think the answer is no, that they didn't have an idea or they didn't know. But this episode felt like well, just in case this is our last
Hmm.
season, let's really cover the series as a whole, because it felt like they really did kind of touch on every
Hmm.
corner of it.
Yeah. When you say that, it makes me think of like when you see like the last episode of Seinfeld or something, and it's like clips of the older, like they'll go to a clip of the first
Yeah.
season and the clip of the third season, and they always go back to hey, you remember when that happened? And then
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. This was a clip show, kind of.
it was kind of it was kind of a walk down memory lane. Like for example, Ariam got her Tasha Yar goodbye moment, right? Where they actually gave Tasha in, was it yesterday's Enterprise?
You're so right. Hmm.
Yeah. So Ariam got her yesterday's Enterprise moment in this particular episode. She was faced with the truth about her demise, and she owned up to it and said, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I'll. That sounds like me. That sounds like something I would do. I'll stand up for her. I volunteer for that." And so the courage that it takes to be able to kind of accept that reality, that truth, and kind of move forward. I thought she showed a lot of courage, and it reminded me of the Tasha Yar moment. That was one of my favorite moments of this episode, actually.
That's a very good point. She did get her Tasha Yar yesterday's Enterprise moment, although we still never found out what the Arium is. Like we would always like, don't worry, I'm sure they'll explain what she is one day, and then she died, and we're like, wait, and then she came back, and then she died again, or disappeared again, or accepted her fate, and we'll never know what kind. In the comments below, everybody, let us know. Has a book or a comic series or anything, any kind of expanded universe thing, which is non-canon, I understand, but has anything ever really explained exactly what she is? She's some kind of cyborg, I guess, some kind of feeling robot. So maybe a cyborg, or maybe it's an alien that's partially artificial. I don't know. So kind of like the Mechlars, for anybody that played Master of Orion. Remember the Mechlars? Anyway,
um, I think her dad is Optimus Prime from the Transformers, and she's just, one of the Transformers, possibly, because she
that would
does
be
have that kind of. GoBots kind of
Yeah, she
look to
does.
her.
You're right. She would transform into a motorcycle. You are so
Yes,
right. She's
right.
absolutely a motorcycle, like a futuristic motorcycle GoBot.
Yes, yes. I totally can see it. They just rides off into a little
Man, they missed out. She kind of looks like Robotech too. She looks like
a little
a
bit,
Robotech fighter, like when they transform. Let me see if I can pull that up.
a little bit. Because when I saw her in this episode in the close-ups, I was like, that's a little like one of the Transformers or something, you know. And I can't believe they never fully explained what Arian is,
See,
because we
so
would like to see more of that.
she's kind of Robotechy, like I could see her
A little Robotech,
transforming.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a
Hey,
little bit,
so we do have a fun bonus segment today where we're going to do the free for all in just a couple minutes, because there's
yeah,
way more to talk about with this episode, but we're going to open it up to more than just us. So
yeah.
let's talk about the home run of the day. Cirroc Lofton, who do you think gets the home run of today's episode?
Um, the home run of this episode. Mm, yeah, I'm gonna go with Burnham again. I think Burnham's gets the home run. She carries a lot of this stuff for me. It's just like she's so good. Uh, the scenes where she has to talk to herself in the turbo lift, and yeah, I will give it to Burnham's character.
I think I'm going to give it to Arium, like an honorary Arium, an honorarium, because now that's
That's great.
that character is played by Hannah Cheeseman. Before that, it was played by Sarah Middich in the first season. Sarah Middich played in the first season, and then she became Lieutenant Nilsson, and Hannah Cheeseman ended up playing Arium in the second season. And Hannah Cheeseman has played more characters. She also plays the Osnolus. Every once in a while, you'll see like this crazy looking alien in the background on the bridge that's just got like its whole face covered and weird stuff. That's her. She plays that. She's also played like a Kelpian. I think she also was maybe a Klingon at some point. So she's kind of like a female Doug Jones, where she plays all kinds of different aliens, or a female David Benjamin Tomlinson, more like, who plays Linus, but he also has played a Kelpian and a Klingon and that other alien in the
Yeah,
third season. Anyway, so I'm going to give it to her for today. And
honorarium.
yeah, let's also talk about some of our favorite people very quickly. And their names are Homer Frizzell, Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackman, Tom TJ, Jackson Bay out in Missouri, Titus
Ooh,
Muller, Dr. Mohammed Noor, Tierney C. Diekman, Anil O. Palat, Joe Balsarati, Mike Gu, Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, Edward Foltz, aka Crewman Guy, My Life from Tokyo, the Matt Boardman, the Dark Lord, Chris McGee, Justin Weir, Jake Barrett, Henry Unger, Allison Leach Hyde, Julie Manisfee, Greg K. Wickstrom, who's out in Hawaii. Jealous. Jed Thompson, Dr. Susan V. Gruner, Glenn Iverson, Dave Gregory, Tim Baum, aka Grandpa One, Chris Sternett, Christopher D. Marshall, Joanna Yunker, Roy Eapen, and of course, I was going to say the time bug himself, Jason Oken. All right, everybody, stick around. We've got the free for all coming up right now. We're going to cover this episode way more. We'll be right back on the seventh rule. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the seventh rule with Cirroc Lofton. It is time for the free for all with Melissa Longo. Allison Leach Hyde is here. Thank goodness.
Oh,
Gold,
yes. And
with go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, she's wearing a sweathead shirt. Yay! That's so cool. Thanks.
That you can find at the introvertedrepublic.com, everybody. So check that out. Gold, Scott Jensen's here. Cool background. And Carrie Schwent is here, also showing off a pretty awesome Discovery shirt herself. Then I've got my Voyager documentary brother. What are you, Gruff Candor? He says, wearing the Tuvok rock shirt. It's TJ Jackson Bay out in Missouri.
That's better than last week's.
Christopher D. Marshall is here. He's got the UFP flag behind him.
How's it going,
And
guys?
Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel is out in space.
Oh, yeah, wearing my Star Trek and Chill shirt.
That you
That's not from the official Star Trek store.
Oh, yeah, more on that later.
Star Trek and Chill.
All right. So first of all, did you guys catch any non-appearance mentions today? Because I caught quite a few.
Oh, man.
At least Lorca and Landry.
Saru. Yeah, Saru as well.
Oh, we saw
Saru was
Saru's body.
there.
Yeah. Maybe it's just his body
okay.
double. But I missed Landry.
Osira?
Yes.
Osira?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Osira, yes. And the Krenim?
That's just an alien
Control.
race.
Does control count? Because it's kind
I
of
don't think so. Right? That's just a group. But what about Lorca, right?
Oh,
Yes, I did say that.
yeah.
You said that first.
I did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good knowledge there.
Great.
I was like so excited for a second.
You thought you were going to see him?
Oh, yeah. Come on, Jason Isaac. Just a little.
What about Janal?
Oh.
They mentioned Janal.
He's the next Curzon.
Yes, but didn't Dr. Culber play him? So technically, we saw Culber.
Nah.
I think Homer would say no.
Yeah,
I think-
we gotta phone Homer on that one.
Yeah, ET phone Homer for sure.
a lifeline to call him.
I think that's all the ones I got. All right. Melissa Longo, will you please get us started on the right track and tell us what you thought about this radical episode?
There were so many touching moments. There were so many moments where I was like, oh. But specifically, I love the scene between Book and Burnham when she sees past Book, and then you could see her grappling with, the reality of what's occurring in her present, and then how much she misses the past with him. That was very moving, and I loved that scene, and it was a really great moment. I loved the scene between Linus and Burnham in the turbo lift. Talk about gold press platinum. I love when he said, "Red is definitely your color." It's so good. I forgot how much I miss the old uniforms. I love the old uniforms. They're so good to see. It was fun seeing Ariam again, and Dr. Pollard. It was good to see her too. And then I have to say that the very last scene of the episode, it had me feeling like finally Burnham is owning the captain's chair. It belongs to her. This chair is hers. And I was like, oh yeah, get that chair, captain's chair, Michael. So it was really, specifically the very last shot. It was wonderful to see them pan out from her. And this episode stoked a lot of nostalgia, and it reminded me of when I was first seeing the clips for when they were first announcing Discovery, and seeing the clips with Michelle Yeoh and Sonequa and on the dunes and dressed in white, and I was so excited to see this show, and it's been quite a journey. So yeah, good stuff.
Great stuff by Melissa Longo. Thank you very much, Melissa. Allison Leach Hyde, what is up with you this was your first Discovery episode ever, right? What'd you think of it?
Oh yeah, completely brand new. So I had no idea what was going on the entire episode. No, I loved it. I had so much fun with Stamets in this episode because, first he's all bloodied and he's like, oh, I forgot how much this hurt. And, poor Culber's like, what are you talking about? You've been stabbed. Of course you're delirious. And Stamets, going, there's a breach to get everyone out of engineering. And then finally the last one is, I'm grumpy today. All of you out. And everyone got out faster. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, I love this. I understand that feeling. There are days where, I'm just like, nope, I'm done with everyone, out of my space. So loved that Stamets got to do that while saving the universe all at the same time. So that was probably my favorite, other than, of course, we got some Burnham on Burnham action fight scene, which was great. I loved that. That was very well executed, choreographed, and put together. So I really believed it. So that was also a ton of fun. So I enjoyed this one. Who doesn't love weird time episodes? We get so many of them in Star Trek, but they do them really well. So it always makes me excited.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff. Thank you very much, Allison Leach Hyde. Goldu Scott Jensen is here. He's going to teach us lessons on how to be evil. What do you think of this one, though?
Well, it's no surprise that if you guys have ever heard me talk about any kind of TV or storytelling entirely, that I love character development. And this was like, if you like character development, here's some character development in your character development. It was teaching Rayner this lesson through showing how much character development Michael has had since the beginning of the show. It felt like a rewatch without doing a full rewatch. There was a lot of really quick just reminders of this and that. And it was, I felt like this would have been a really great series ender, or season ender at least, because it was like, this is your life, Michael Burnham. And you get to encourage yourself. How cool is that? Like, to be able to go back in time and tell yourself, just hold on and be tough. You got this. But yeah, I loved so many parts of it. Definitely all that Stamets parts, because you didn't realize how much of a character development he went through. And I guess it's because the tardigrade DNA made him a little bit more chill than he used to be. When he brought that up, that was great. But my absolute favorite scene in this entire episode was Rayner rolling that nat 20 for charisma with the gun right to his chest, just standing there like, go ahead and do it. Go ahead. You're not going to do it. And then just talking her down completely over what we talked about last week, that 20-second conversation that he had with everybody. He pulled all that stuff off with Reese. And then, he learned something 3 scenes ago on the bridge with her. And he put this stuff together that quick and was able to literally talk somebody with a gun to their chest down. So yeah, I really love what they're doing with him, and I really hope that he's not that character that dies in the last episode. I really hope he's not.
We'll see. He might have the Todd Stashwick move. What's his name? Captain Shaw. Great stuff. Thanks, Scott Jensen. That poses an excellent question for everybody in the comments section. In the comments below, if you could do what Michael Burnham did, which was she visited herself from season 1, that would be back in 2017. If you could visit 2017 you, after you were done fighting with yourself, what would you tell yourself? That's a fun one. Carrie Schwent is here, aka Crafty Bear. What did you think of this particular episode?
I love these type of wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey episodes where you get to jump around to all sorts of stuff. Voyager did, I think, at least 2 or 3 different versions of it, and those are all fun too. And I've got a couple things I'll get to, but I do want to start off with an apology for something last week. I didn't realize until in between recording and the live that I accidentally referred to Adira as she instead of they. And I've been racked with guilt over it all week. It's something I did not mean to do. And I just wanted to get that off my chest on the recording. So hopefully if she ever sees this, I very much apologize. I did not mean to say she as many times as I did, because I actually absolutely love their character.
The whole cast and crew does watch this show, so that's good that you did that.
Yeah, Adira and Stamets, I just love the 2 of them together. So I got that off my chest. And also, as a severe arachnophobe, did the time bug have to be a damn spider? I mean, really? Any other bug, please. Not that.
It could have been a mosquito.
It was adorable.
That would have been better, but did it okay. I got that also off my chest. So at least when I watch it later on with my husband, I know when to not look at the TV. But back to the episode, yeah, love it. Jet Reno getting to kick some serious butt in the hallway. That was excellent to see. She of course had her couple of excellent zippy lines, Dr. Truffles, and are you stuck in a time loop right now, Stamets? Just perfectly just dry, deadpan. I love the way her line deliveries. And I very much love the development, yeah, with Michael and Raynor. They're teaching each other the way they do things, and they're taking steps. She admits at the end of the episode that, yeah, we might be a little too familiar. We could probably tighten things up. And he takes several steps towards her in getting looser. And I didn't have a ton of time to do a limerick, so I went with a haiku for the episode, kind of along that line. Discipline is good. Freedom to speak is also. Find the middle ground. Yeah, love the episode. Love it.
Wow, good knowledge by Anne Marie in the chat. Thank you very much, Carrie Schwent, aka Crafty Bear. Cool shirt. All right, Gruff Candor is here. Got a bridge to sell you. It's TJ Jackson Bay out in Missouri. What do you think of this episode?
I very much enjoyed this episode, and I did enjoy that scene between Mr. Gruff Candor himself, Commander Raynor, and Mr. Gruff Candor himself, also Stamets, because it was Stamets' gruffness that got everybody out of the engineering when they needed them out. But I really appreciated that moment, where he says, "All right, time out for a second. You just cut this routine out. Just cut it out. Like it's not working for you. And let's try something different to get along and get through this." And they did, and it worked wonderfully. And I feel like Commander Raynor, really grew and learned how important it is to connect with the people around him in doing what they do every day. So I was very appreciative for that scene. I also cannot really say how much I appreciated the Burnham versus Burnham scene, and it's always been a fantasy of mine. What would I do if I met my past self? What would my past self do? What would my current self do? What would I tell myself? And things of that sort. And so when she nerve pinches her and lays her back and just kind of in her head remembers, I remember how hopeless this all felt. So at the time, gonna be okay. It brought tears to my eyes. So really, really appreciated that scene. Thought they also did a good job of blending in scenes from the old episodes, like when they were coming to the future, the battle with Control, and when Stamets is injured. It made me believe that, okay, Stamets does exist out of time, and he, like, in that moment, even though that was years ago on the show, could have been cognizant of something else going on when he was trying to get out of bed and was delirious and had to go into the coma. So, just really appreciated the way they kind of played with that a little bit to make it believable. I wish we could have seen Lorca, Jason Isaacs. That would have been awesome. But all in all, great episode. So much more I could say about it, but I'll leave it right there.
All right. What else you got?
I'm going to recap that and throw in one more thing. And I'm going to camel back off of Melissa's comment about the bridge scene at the end, because we actually got two of those. And we got to see the whole bridge crew in the past with Ariam in command when Burnham walks in. And I thought it was nice to end the episode with another scene like that with the current crew, and Raynor walks in, and he's got his hand fixed, but he's also starting to feel like he's part of this crew when he stands at his station, as Burnham also taking in the moment in the chair. So I really appreciated that scene as well. Now I'll shut up.
He'll know he's fully embraced by the crew when he finds that kick me sign on his back. That's when he knows. That's when he knows they've accepted him. Thanks very much, TJ Jackson Bay, out in Missouri. Christopher D. Marshall, what's up, Chris? How are you today? And what did you think of this episode?
I like this one a lot. I totally forgot that this was going to be the mind bender one. Wish I would have realized that before I visited with my friend MJ earlier this morning, but but no, it was great. It was great. And I love to see that moment with Raynor and Jet Reno when she saves him. And I'm waiting for the scene upcoming where he goes and he buys her that drink like they agree upon or whatever. She's like, "Oh, buy me the drink." He's like, "That's the only way to have it." So I'm waiting for, next episode or whatever, that to come to par, and she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that was you." But yeah, this whole episode it was great. The character progression, I feel like it was just unparred compared to much of the rest of the series. It's been one of the things I've struggled with the series is, it hasn't given as much character progression as I would have liked. But this episode definitely helped make up for a lot of that. So I really enjoyed it.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Christopher D. Marshall, with the UFP flag behind him. I love that thing. Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel is here as well. What did you think of this episode? Was it Star Trek?
Oh my God, I trended. It was so Star Trekky. It was my favorite episode since Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad back in season 1. Oh, I loved it so much. Like, first of all, I love the song Que Sera Sera. And the second it came on, I was like, yes, now if we ever get my wish of having a piano sing-along event at a creation convention or any convention, that song can get added to the list. But there were so many amazing moments, like the Krenim shout out, and what I always wish every Star Trek character would say anytime anyone's acting weird, which is like, "Are you caught in a time loop right now?" Like, I was like, finally, someone thinks to ask that whenever anybody acts weird. I loved that.
That was really good, yeah.
I'd always ask that, or like, "Are you body snatched?" But of course, a body snatched person would say no. And then I think, just that scene with the crew, the flashback. It's like, obviously a criticism of the show this whole time has been like, we don't get enough of the crew talking. And I always want that. And it just felt so good to have it. And then because the crew really is all the actors are such good friends and have spent all this time in real life, it was cool to see how comfortable they were with each other, which made it feel like it was something we always had, even though we haven't. So I absolutely loved it.
Excellent. What was the alien, that extra alien at the beginning of the cold open?
I don't know, but I don't like things coming out of people's mouths. I don't care if they're alien or not. They should stop putting that in shows and movies and everything because it's not fun to watch.
Okay.
I'm not a barf fan. Sorry.
I think our buddy, Jörg Hillebrand figured out. This guy figures everything out.
So smart.
He tweeted out, "In case the alien weapons dealer in Star Trek Discovery's Face is Strange seem familiar, he's an Anari, first seen in Star Trek Voyager episode Nightingale, but most closely resembled Valen in The Void, a very faithful recreation of the makeup. So check them out side by side, and you'll definitely see it's pretty spot on." Great catch by him. Mm-hmm. Jake's final takes. Cirroc Lofton, your final thoughts on the episode.
Anari Stoudemire. Don't worry, there's plenty more bad jokes where that came from.
The eyebrows.
Yeah. Shout out to Grudge. I love seeing a little Grudge in this episode. Every time I see Grudge, I'm like, there you go. Seems like a cuddly cat to have. We also learned that Reese likes to grade his ships on a curve.
That's good.
That was
That
right.
You made up for it there. That was.
There we go. I was reminded also watching this episode about Aaron Eisenberg's dislike for time crystals. So that just crossed my mind as I was watching the episode. Like, I remember him ranting on time crystals. So
I think he would have liked time bugs better.
I don't know. That's what I was wondering. What he would have thought about time bugs. I'm with Gary about my arachnophobia level is just like too high. Yeah. Also, if you know where the two Burnham, the fight scene, I thought that was great. You know, if Burnham was an '80s rock band, she would be Burnham. No, is that good?
Hungry like the wolf.
No. Allison got that one.
Hungry like the wolf.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
thanks for the
Duran.
you,
Okay. Whew.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
I'm slow. Sorry.
You're late today.
I know. Allison got it right away. So.
But these are the things that flash through my head. I'm also with the case Cirroc, because I use that all the time. So
this is like material. He's getting ready for a convention here.
This is a tight 2.
100% gonna edit in all the drum.
Oh my god!
Yeah. No, I'm done, guys. I'm done. Actually, let me go really on a serious note, because there was one thing that kind of didn't sit that well with me in this episode, and this is like the serious thing. I wasn't okay with necessarily Burnham kind of needing the validation that she belongs or deserves to be the captain. I don't feel like, as a person of color, to get a validation from what I perceive to be kind of a white male, it doesn't sit well for me in the value system that I grew up with. I don't like to hear that where he says, you deserve to be here. Like, her actions make her deserve to be here. It's not his words or his validation of that. It's the 5 seasons that I've watched prior to him being on the show. So that kind of doesn't sit well to me. And it would have been better if it came from one of her friends on the show that have been there the whole time, maybe like Tilly, maybe like a Washington, somebody else who could kind of come to her and say, you know, you deserve to be here. That makes more sense to me than this new guy, you know, giving, like, we don't need your validation.
Frickin' gave a second chance to, because he was going to get kicked out. Like, give me a freaking break. I thought the same thing.
So it bothered me. I was like, this show's been really hitting like the progressive value system well in its storytelling, and I think they missed the ball on that particular thing, because I'm like, well, you know, she's been earning her way up the thing, and we've heard this exact kind of sentiment come from Cirroc, which made more sense to me, because that was somebody who's in the trenches with her. That's her friend. But this dude, like, no, I don't need your validation. I know I belong here. I've been doing this for a while. Thank you very much. You know, I saved your career. So I didn't like that. And so I think they could have written that a little bit better for me, especially, like I said, from the context of race. This Black woman who deserves to be the captain and doesn't need somebody's validation to stamp it as official or legitimate. That's it. That's my serious.
Maybe that's how they do it on Battlestar, but
that would have been funny though if when he said that, don't worry, you deserve to be here, if she just went, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That deserved such an eye roll.
Actually, originally they were going to have Grudge go back and talk to herself and fight, and it was going to be like a grudge match. So I
There
was
we
waiting
go,
for. If
there
you're
we
not going
go.
to take that one, Cirroc, I will. Sorry, I'll take the fall
There
there.
we go. There we go.
Like,
On
Oh,
par,
can the
yeah,
title
yeah.
of this review please be Case Cirroc? That's amazing.
I think we
Yeah.
have.
Guys,
I think we may have done that
Yeah.
before, but yeah, let's do it. Let's do
Yeah,
it again. Like,
recycle.
yeah,
Let's see.
and we're in a time loop too. So that's it for us, everybody. Thank you so much to Dr. Anne Marie, Christopher, Gruff, Carrie, Scott, Allison, Melissa, for myself, Cirroc Loft, and Melissa Longo, and the aforementioned and always loved Aaron Eisenberg. Thank you all very much for hanging out with us. We will see you next time. And until then, always remember the seventh rule.